Warning, the words and lyrics written by 2D6 and its creators do not necessarily reflect the thoughts and opinions shared by Tanner Bivens.
Boba Fett sucks! Your dad got killed right in front of you. Boba Fett sucks!
Basically, it was only the extended universe that saved you.
Boba Fett sucks!
Oh! Oh. Alright. I guess I did piss him off. Alright. Looks like I'm gonna do this review under fire, so, let's talk about the last game for Star Wars month, the most recent of the games. And
does this sound like I
that
suck?
game would be Star Wars from Fantasy Flight Games. So when 2010 rolled around, Wizards of the Coast declined to renew the licensing on their rights to Star Wars gaming. Those rights were picked up from Lucasfilms in 2011 by Fantasy Flight Gaming, the people behind most recent Warhammer 40k games, as well as a variety of card games that include games that are Legends of the Five Rings, Lord of the Rings, Call of Cthulhu, and Blue Moon. And during this time period, this wasn't exactly met with positive fanfare. Fantasy Flight instantly pissed off a great deal of fans, both Star Wars and role-playing games in general. The reason being is because Fantasy Flight made two irritating decisions. The first decision was to release a beta game, and the idea of buying a game 2 times did not exactly sit well with people. So, I hate to be that guy, but
I was supposed to be Darth Vader's brother.
Alright, I hate to be that guy, but betas really piss me the fuck off. I get it, I'm old school and used to the old betas of video games, where you barely knew they existed. Betas in their present form seem to be more of a getting people pumped for something that is about to be released, and that is also slightly interactive, that you can share your experiences with the creators, and they can alternate accordingly. But the idea of paying for a beta of a role-playing game, and then paying again for either the finished PDF or the physical book, just really isn't worth a lot of people's time. Thanks to sites like DriveThruRPG, betas are much more commonplace nowadays, but luckily they're free. The other problem? Well, what I can safely tell you is that gamers like to have their dice and to use their dice on the table. The idea of changing out dice doesn't typically sit well with them. That is pretty much what Fantasy Flight did by using a similar system they use for their Warhammer systems that requires you to buy specific Fantasy Flight dice that typically use symbols and blanks instead of numbers. There were 7 in total. The white dice meant for the Force, green dice meant for the abilities, purple dice meant for difficulty, yellow dice meant for proficiency, red dice for challenge, blue dice for boost, and black dice for setbacks, and they came in both D12, D8, and D6 forms. This will typically get a lot of people irritated at a game. The main reason is that, well, you have to use their dice in order to play the game, and also you cannot use your dice. It's just, it has this feeling that the company is trying to nickel and dime you for however much money they possibly can get out of you. It's also one of the main reasons that games like Fate System is not widely considered to be one of the greatest games of all time. However, they were able to work past these not-so-wonderful starts and released a slew of books with different styles for their games. Ultimately, Fantasy Flight Star Wars games released 4 major games under their belt. They all had the same system, however used different aspects of the universe in different settings. Edge of Empire is meant more for smugglers and pirate characters and bounty hunters. Star Wars Age of Rebellion focuses on the Galactic Civil War, with the characters playing freedom fighters. Star Wars Force and Destiny, you take on the role of some of the last Jedi Knights who survived Order 66 and are now fighting during Emperor Palpatine's reign. And then finally you have the last one, which was The Force Awakens, that is built around the most recent universe and the continuation established. And I'll be straightforward with you. Even with the rocky start, these games are probably my favorite among the Star Wars line. The Star Wars role-playing game will probably still be ranked the greatest. However, in terms of enjoyability, I'll reach for this over the Star Wars RPG anytime. The game has a lot of character. The dice do add a uniqueness to it, and you can always fudge some of the dice rules in order to use your typical dice, if you really don't want to shell up for the others. Fantasy Flight also made the fiscally smart and mechanically smart choice to break the Fantasy Flight series into 4 distinct games. One focusing on smugglers, one focusing on the Rebellion, one focusing on Jedi, and the other focusing on the most recent movie franchise. Which, in and of itself, is... Hold on a second. I guess it was pretty easy. I mean, Boba Fett does kind of suck. All it really needed was one good force push to send him toppling right back to the Sarlacc pit where he belongs. Either way, what the point of this is that whenever you split these up into 4 books, you actually do automatically solve one of the big problems with Star Wars, and even the problem we've talked about before with the all Jedi versus no Jedi dilemma. As I discussed in the last episode, there are ways to break this cycle, but it is undeniable that there is a problem with Star Wars, and that problem is the fact that there are problems with the more interesting characters that the Star Wars universe generates. Yes, the original series was about the combination of a Jedi Luke, the rebellion leader Leia, and a smuggler Han to take on this greater evil that was the Empire. They worked well together, they were in synergy. However, it is a different type of problem whenever you have a Star Wars game and one person wants to be Boba Fett and someone else wants to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Those are 2 characters that aren't going to get along well. Same thing happens whenever people play 2 Jedi, 1 bounty hunter, 1 smuggler, and 1 rebellion fighter in a game of Star Wars. All of them may have very different ideas of what they want to do and what they want their character to accomplish. How do they really get that together? How do they even get together to begin with? Well, Fantasy Flight had an answer to that. Sure, they made a lot more money off of this because of the fact they split it up into 4 games, but because of this, you actually still have 4 games, and they are each tailored to your own special interests and desires. So if you really want to have that big rebellion fight the Empire, you bring out Age of Rebellion. Your players know what you're reaching for, that you know what the goals are, they know which characters to make. If they really want to be pirates and smugglers, you have Edge of Empire for that. Or if they really want to be Jedi, then you have Force and Destiny. It really does help a lot that you have these different games that are tailored to people's various interests in this gigantic soap opera universe. The 4 games are tailor-made Star Wars experiences, like to the very T, while the other games try to keep blending them all together. This one said, let's not blend them, let's separate them, let's actually give them what they want in 4 different increments, and really, it's probably been the best thing I've ever seen for a Star Wars universe to do this. If you even still want to mix these 4 worlds together, you certainly can. Like, if you think that if your players are going to create the characters that you want, you know, you can take aspects from each of these to make these characters, but if you really want to have a very streamlined focus in the Star Wars universe, boom, you got it. You don't have to worry about streamlining or a rogue player going off and screwing up your campaign. I'm sure everyone has their favorites out there, but for myself personally, none of these other games could capture the full satisfying experience without the work from storyteller or players. With this, it gave me, and still gives me, the most satisfying Star Wars experience out of all of these other games. This game is getting a crit. It is my personal favorite out of the 3 games we covered. You really can go, worst, okay, and then phenomenal, at least in my book. Like, I'm going to reach for Edge of Empire, Age of Rebellion any day over the other two, and that's just me personally. If you have your favorites, enjoy the hell out of them, but you know what? These ones work for me. And with that, we're going to conclude Star Wars Month. Thank you all so much for watching, and thanks for, sticking through this first, themed experience. So, thank you all so much, and I hope you have a good one. Please like and subscribe for more. Hey everybody, thank you all for watching past the credit sequence. So, really, what I want to say right now is thank you all so much. This is now, I cannot believe that Crit or Miss is about, it's 2 months away from entering a year of creation, and I have a lot of great stuff planned for the future. And thank you all so much for liking, subscribing. If you have done neither, at least thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. These things are a blast for me. I've enjoyed making them. I've enjoyed hearing feedback. I've enjoyed this entire experience, and I want to keep going with it. So, just to give you an idea of what's to come. So once again, if you just watch the video and you're not following me personally, if you're not really into this experience, you could probably turn off the video now. This is more for people who are actually subscribed and ready to know what's on the horizon. So, okay, now that that's out of the way, there's no Crit or Miss next week. Next week is Christmas. I'm going to be tired after Christmas Day, and I think that we could all use a break. So, no video next week. If you want to see the video of myself talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi and my opinions on The Last Jedi, then what I think that you should really do is pop over, if you haven't already popped over, to Project Derailed YouTube page. And on that, we did a episode called Discussions and Doodles, where Nick, myself, and Tom, Nick and Tom being from Project Derailed, talked about The Last Jedi in great detail. So if you wanted my review on The Last Jedi as well as my opinions on it, please go over there. For people who follow the movie stuff, at the end of this year is going to be the 2017 Best and Worst Movies, and for the first time this year, I'm going to be have a co-host. That's right, Fiona, also from Project Derailed, is going to be doing a list with me. So we're going to do our 5 worst and 5 best movies of 2017. As far as Crit or Miss is concerned for the future, I have a lot of fun stuff planned. There's going to be a really big thing for the 1-year anniversary for Crit or Miss, and also we're going to be talking about some of the worst role-playing games of all time. So we dipped a little bit into that with a couple of games over the past year, but this time we're going for the big ones. I can guarantee you next year and very soon we are going to talk finally about Fatal. Fatal, the game, which is the head and shoulders worst role-playing game of all time. So please stay tuned for that. Please, if you just first came in or listen to this right now, like and subscribe for more. Go back and watch my other videos. Get an idea for this. But I got a lot of fun stuff planned, and I'm really looking forward to it. So thank you all so much again, and I appreciate every one of you.